I hid my pregnancy from my husband and Mill for months. Am I the whole? I, 25F, have been married to my husband Joel, 28M, for 3 years. We met in college, fell in love, and decided to marry young. From the very beginning, we shared a dream of having a large family. I had always envisioned myself as a stay-at-home mom, and Joel was completely supportive of that dream. It felt like everything was falling perfectly into place. But soon, our ideal life started to unravel in ways I hadn't anticipated. Joel's relationship with his mother, Amy, was always intense, but I initially thought it was just a normal mother-son bond. Amy had a peculiar habit of referring to Joel as my baby boy, even though he was a grown adult. It struck me as odd, but I thought it was just a quirk that would fade once we settled into married life. I was sorely mistaken. The first real sign of trouble was at our wedding. Amy, being generous and contributing significantly to the expenses, insisted on having the first dance with Joel. I reluctantly agreed, feeling it was the least I could do given her financial contribution. But when Amy suggested wearing a cream-colored dress that resembled a bridal gown, I had to put my foot down. I didn't care how much money she had contributed. I wasn't about to let her overshadow me on my wedding day. Amy's tendency to show up unannounced soon became a major issue. Initially, I thought having family nearby would be beneficial, especially when we started a family of our own. But Amy's constant intrusions turned out to be a significant burden. She would barge into our home at the most inconvenient times, during intimate dinners, in the middle of arguments, or even when we were simply trying to have some private time. Joel, naturally, defended his mother's actions, insisting she was just being supportive. I began to feel increasingly isolated, as if my boundaries were constantly being violated. Things took a dramatic turn when I discovered I was pregnant with our first child. Joel and I were ecstatic, having finally reached a milestone we had long dreamed of. However, Amy's reaction quickly overshadowed our joy. While her excitement was understandable, it soon became overwhelming. She insisted on attending every single doctor's appointment. At first, I agreed, thinking it might be nice to have her involved. But as the appointments continued, it became stifling. During our first ultrasound, the moment we heard the baby's heartbeat, Amy leaped from her chair, grabbed Joel's hands, and burst into tears. Joel, caught up in the moment, focused entirely on Amy's reaction, leaving me feeling completely alone. The experience was supposed to be a shared moment between Joel and me, but Amy's presence stole that from us. The situation continued to spiral. Amy proposed hosting her own grandbaby shower to collect supplies for the baby that would be kept at her house. This was not just a gesture of excitement. It felt like she was planning to have our baby spend significant time at her place. I tried to shut this idea down, but Joel defended his mother, saying she was just enthusiastic and that it was harmless. To me, it wasn't harmless. It felt like a massive overstep, an invasion of our personal space. Another painful moment came when I first felt the baby kick. I was sitting on the couch, marveling at the tiny flutter in my belly, when Amy arrived unannounced. I tried to share the moment with Joel, but Amy practically shoved me aside to feel the baby kick herself. It was yet another instance where I was pushed to the background while Amy took center stage. The situation reached its breaking point when I miscarried. It was one of the most heartbreaking experiences of my life. I started having complications at home, and in a panic, Joel rushed me to the hospital. I hoped we could face this difficult time together, but Joel called Amy to inform her of the situation. She arrived at the hospital, crying so loudly that Joel had to leave me to console her in the car. I was left alone, dealing with my grief and pain, while Joel comforted his mother. That moment was a harsh realization that, no matter what happened, Amy would always come first in Joel's life. After the miscarriage, I began to distance myself from Joel. I moved to the guest room, needing space to process my emotions. Our relationship was strained, but we still cared deeply for each other. I wasn't sure how we could move forward, but I needed time to heal. A few months later, at a friend's wedding, I ended up drinking more than I should have. Joel and I spent the night together in our main bedroom, something that hadn't happened since the miscarriage. A few weeks later, I began to notice early pregnancy symptoms. I was terrified to take a test, fearing what it might reveal. But I did it anyway, and there it was, the little plus sign. I was pregnant again. Instead of feeling overjoyed, I was overwhelmed with fear and anxiety. The memories of my previous pregnancy came rushing back. Amy's interference, the loneliness during the miscarriage, the constant pressure. I couldn't bear the thought of going through another pregnancy with Amy's overbearing presence. So, I decided to keep the pregnancy a secret. I scheduled a doctor's appointment and went alone, hearing the baby's heartbeat in solitude. There were no emotional outbursts from Amy, no one to distract me from the moment. It was just me and my baby, and for the first time, I felt a sense of peace amidst the chaos. Weeks turned into months, and I continued to hide the pregnancy. Now, at 18 weeks, my bump is starting to show. I've been wearing oversized sweatshirts and baggy clothes to conceal it. I know I can't keep this up forever, but part of me wants to hold on to this small bit of control. The first fluttering movements of the baby were something I got to experience alone, and it felt liberating. I didn't have to share this special time with anyone, not even Joel. But now I'm at a crossroads. I know I can't hide this secret indefinitely. Sooner or later, Joel will find out. And when he does, how will he react? How do I explain that I've been keeping his child a secret for months? More importantly, how do I prevent Amy from intruding once again? I don't want to face the same struggles as before, but I'm also terrified of the fallout when the truth comes out. The fear of Amy's reaction weighs heavily on me. I know she will be devastated and might try to take control of the situation, just as she did before. I'm scared that if Joel finds out about the pregnancy through someone else, it will only make things worse. The thought of him feeling betrayed or hurt by my secrecy is painful, but the thought of dealing with Amy's intrusive behavior is even worse. I've tried to prepare myself for the inevitable conversation with Joel. I know I need to tell him, but I'm unsure of how to approach it. How do I explain my actions without seeming like I'm placing the blame entirely on Amy? How do I reconcile the fact that I kept this major part of our life together a secret? Every day, I wrestle with these questions. Part of me wants to continue hiding, to protect this pregnancy and my peace. But another part of me knows that living in secrecy is not sustainable. I need to find a way to address these issues, to protect my relationship with Joel, and to set boundaries with Amy. In the end, I love Joel deeply, and I don't want to hurt him. I want to find a way to move forward, to navigate this difficult situation without causing irreparable damage to our relationship. I'm not sure how to proceed, but I know I need to face the reality of the situation. I need to decide whether to come clean about the pregnancy or continue hiding it for a little while longer. Whatever the choice, it will have significant consequences for our future.